Welcome back once again, Warriors.
Come
Thanks
on,
for
boys.
sticking around there.
Show me what you got.
Shift in the background here, but yeah, we're here to talk about some patch notes. So with JC, but before that, just real quick, because we were
You
just checking
fool.
a few of the comments in between the transition of the segments here. And JC, you had one more thing you wanted to mention.
Yeah,
Let me know.
I just want to address some weird urban legend that I've been reading about and hearing about for a while, and I should have mentioned it before. So apparently, a lot of players were thinking that we couldn't remove reflex guard because of deflect, and that they were linked together in some sort of spaghetti code type of thing. That was completely false. I have no idea where people got that information from.
I don't know. Yeah,
but yeah, so basically, it's they had nothing to do with each other.
Yeah.
We still have deflects. There's no problems. And it's completely unrelated. So that's
so
two
there you
really
go.
different systems.
Yeah, they're not connected at all.
Yeah.
I don't know where y'all got that.
No
Okay,
idea.
they're completely
Yeah,
separate. So deflects are here to stay.
Yep,
So,
yeah,
there we
exactly.
go.
I'm really
Why did it?
All right, well, cool.
I don't know.
But beyond that too, we have again, if y'all thought that this was a pretty big update, we have even more for you and something I think that's been
you're getting me
cooking up a little bit
aroused.
too, past couple updates here. So JC, let's dive in. What do you got for the community?
Let's go. So first off, I'm gonna go into the patch notes as we go along, but I want to just get started. So first things first, we're going Lawbringer reintegration now, so that's great.
Woo!
And then I want to talk super quickly about the bash testing grounds that we've done. So as I mentioned last time, it's not coming in this TU. It'll come out
Nobody's
the
done.
next one.
Is
But
nobody
I
done?
just want to make sure we wanted to take our time to make sure we were getting it right, test out a bunch of different interactions, making sure we're good to go. So don't expect it now, but Lawbringers now, right? So
Awesome. Lawbringer.
and then also for Lawbringer, just to give a bit of not really history, but like an indication of where we're going with it, is that we did 2 testing grounds, right? The first one was kind of like there was things that people liked, things people didn't like. Second one, same thing. So the approach we took specifically for Lawbringer was gather what worked, and then what didn't work, we just discarded it, right? So because a lot of the time, we're thinking, yeah, okay, this is good. It feels good when we're playing it, and then it gets into the hands of players, and it's really not what they're expecting. It's not what they are enjoying. So we don't have a problem. Like, when
I'm
there's
kind
things that
of.
don't really work,
I like
we don't mind
Impale.
cutting them, right? At the same time, want to make sure that the character is still in a healthy spot. So there's some things that are more about the health of the hero and like the feeling of playing against them. But we'll go through the changes and we'll go through it. So for Lawbringer, what I'm going to be doing is just going through the main points of what has changed. You can go look at the patch notes for all the details, for every little nugget of detail that should be in there. They're really, really complete, but that's great.
They're pretty big, yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty big, but we really wanted to make sure that we cut them down to size here so that we don't take 8 hours making those patch notes here.
Fair enough.
So first up, the first thing that we need to mention is that impaling riposte. So this is the side heavy after a parry is only guaranteed on light parries. That's something we had in the second testing ground.
Okay.
We've done
I don't remember this.
of this in the first one where you still had it anytime, and then when you reach the wall, you get a special punish.
What the hell is?
It didn't really pan out. Made things way too complicated, like really messed up stuff. So instead, the best way to handle this was what we did in the second testing grounds, which is it's only off of light parries. You get it off of dodge attack parries. You get it off of other things. But at the end of the day, the damage output of a
did he always have
parry the heavy was way too high.
So face the
too
G.
dangerous. You can ledge, you can put into traps, you can do whatever you want.
This is nice.
It's still useful. And
I'm just saying,
parry, it's not after a light parry. Rather, the idea now is we want players to have a choice and to make a decision. And
what's the point?
Be smart about which option they're going to take. Are they going to do blind justice? Are they going to do impaling riposte? One of them does a little bit less damage, but it has more potential, like of instant kills or whatever. Maybe you want to push somebody out of a group fight if you want. So it's a lot of it is about rewarding smart play and good decision making in the heat of the moment.
Yeah.
So that's why we kind of went this way.
I don't think anyone's going to use that.
When you're playing Lawbringer, you're feeling good about the choices that you're making. And yeah, you can make a mistake sometimes, and it's okay. It's fine. You're going to get to learn. That's great.
That happens.
Then we also kept that the heavy openers now chain to Swift Justice on hit if it's performed in the same stance. So right now, Lawbringer can go into if you land a heavy attack, you can tap light in the same stance, and you will do a really quick tap. That tap leads to your finishers. It counts as your second hit, which is the next point in there. So it's great. It really lets Lawbringer get into his finishers, which is arguably one of the best parts of the kit. He has some of the best heavy finishers in the entire game.
Bro, the
really good,
guy's S tier.
unblockable,
You just
white
made him
shooting,
S
the whole
plus
thing.
tier.
That's super good. They hit a lot of people. They're threatening. That's great. But being forced to do a heavy, then potentially go into a light or a shove and do all those mix-ups when we want to reward, like you managed to land a heavy, you managed to land a guard break that went to
Oh,
your
but a
heavy,
chain.
getting all that stuff to go.
So it's
like,
not
we really want you
guaranteed.
to go into your finishers and use them
Or
as
is
much
it?
as possible.
Okay.
So that's the idea here. If you switch your stance, you will still go into a normal light.
Oh,
So
if that's
okay,
confirmed, then I
that
don't know.
works. So that's all good.
Okay.
We've also kept that the chain heavy attacks now have uninterruptible stance. That's armor for people who, like me, don't like to say uninterruptible stance. So you get they have armor at 100 ms, right? So that's only for chain heavy, not for finishers. The finishers are unblockable already. They don't really need that armor. We had that in the first testing ground.
Yeah,
It didn't
okay.
really pan out, which is okay.
Just finish it, trying
But
to say
having
something.
that armor there really lets Lawbringer be effective in group fights, right? The idea here
I
is
think if
those are still
Lawbringer's getting this good,
with armor there.
I
lets
think
you
the other low
kind of
tiers are
target
going to
swap
get good as
between
well.
opponents, can you
Like
lets you do,
minor
like, a bunch
changes
of
to make
stuff
them
and be
better.
a lot safe against peeling. So
Like
that
Nobushi.
really helps Lawbringer's
I'm hoping I see
offense in
Nobushi.
that regard, to be able
Possibly
to get around
Pirate.
and do stuff.
If you're doing this,
So
you
that's
need to
great.
show some love to
And
them
then
too.
also the top heavy finisher, and now soft feints the guard break. It's a little bit faster. We have a slide a little bit later that like talks about speeds, but essentially to make sure that your top heavy finisher can catch people that are rolling, when you do it after a light, we gave it a soft feint to guard break.
Similar
make
to
sure that
like
you can catch
how
people that are rolling.
Nice.
And
Nusha,
yourself,
right? That
you
small
shoot
trap
those
change
fights
made it
and
really
just,
good.
I rolled away from Lawbringer
Stuff like
every
that
time he does
for the
that.
other heroes like Nobushi Pirate and stuff. There's more.
As well, we have long arm. So long arm now guarantees a safe heavy opener with also a safe swift justice. So on live right now with Lawbringer, you do long arm, you flip them over, you throw a heavy. If you do not do anything afterwards, if you don't throw a light, if you don't risk a light, if you don't risk a heavy, if you don't risk a shove or whatever, your opponent gets a free guard break on you every single time. This is not the case right now. We fixed this. It was fixed in the testing grounds. It works well. This is great. It really helps make long arm a lot safer of a tool. So it works really good. So that's great for that. Blind Justice, which is the top heavy after a parry. It now initiates chains, and it also chains to Swift Justice.
That's crazy,
so
bro.
essentially,
I don't like that.
You can do Blind Justice into target swap shove, for example, if you like. Or if you're on a single target, you can do Blind Justice into Swift Justice.
Yeah, well,
into so really, it's we want to have Lawbringer keep his identity as a parry specialist and have a lot of
big man thing. You're gonna go like
be able to keep the pressure after parries. That's very, very important to us. And so by giving those things a little bit like more utility, a little bit more stuff there, it feels great. And it lets
over and over again. That's
actually move into pressure. Because one of the big problems that Lawbringer had was, yeah, you're really good defensively, but offensively you're not that good. It's kind of hard to get to where you want to be. So with these kind of changes, though, those flow changes,
it's similar to
get into where you want to go. So that's great.
Okay.
Next we have zone attack and make way. So they
I'm gonna
now
mute
cost 20 stamina instead of 60, which was like a crazy number. They now also initiate chains, which is great. You can do like a zone attack into a chain, whatever you want to do. And they also have 600 ms of recovery, right? They used to be way smaller. You could do stuff like zone into a full block and then parry the full block follow-up. This is not something that was intended. It's not something that we want to really reward there. If you're hitting a full block, you should be punished for hitting the full block.
Right.
So we slowed down the recovery a little bit to make sure that those follow-ups would actually be able to connect properly.
Okay.
We've also removed all stun, all stamina damage, and all stamina pause on the hero. So no more stunning off of your top heavies, no more stunning or stamina damage or whatever off of anything. That's completely gone. Stun doesn't really bring much to the game. You know, like flashbangs don't really quite work with what we're doing. And stamina damage and stamina pause, we're removing them over time on pretty much every single hero. The logic here is we want like stamina management still has to be a part of the game, right? You still have your stamina bar, you still have to do stuff, but we don't want it to be impacted too much by what your opponent does. It's how you manage it yourself, and not how your opponent manages to drain your stamina bar. It also has like big knock-on effects into when you're out of stamina and stuff that we don't really want to get into.
I think Shell's fine.
It makes the hero a lot.
It's gonna be kind of crazy with the.
And we've also adjusted the recovery timings for most attacks. I won't go into the numbers. Go look at the patch notes, but the gist of it is the vast majority of heavies, at least, have like shorter recoveries. Like some of them were like over a second long. They're all like about 800 now. So that's great. So yeah, so overall, like we've kind of standardized this a little bit to make the heroes safer as well in group fights. If you don't want to throw a follow-up, you don't have to, and everything's good there.
Nice. All right.
So super quickly, if you want to screenshot this, because a bunch of stuff there, so you can screenshot it. The most important part of this here that I want to mention is the part at the bottom, which is any change not listed in the patch notes has not carried over from the testing grounds.
Right.
What this means, very, very, very shortly, is enhanced lights are still in. Shove-in chains is still 500 ms.
All
those little things that we've done that players did, like the 3-hit light chain, for example, we've also we did not carry it over. Players did not really like it. We heard you. We see it. Fine. We're not putting it in.
Yep.
But again, it's testing grounds. We're testing things. It's okay to dislike stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Totally. Nobody takes it personally. Except maybe sometimes I can't sleep at night, but it's fine.
What are you doing to this guy?
Yeah, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
But it's fine. Like honestly, it's okay. We're testing stuff out. It's good. And sometimes when things are not appreciated, we can remove them, and it's fine.
Sure.
All right. So next up, let's go to Pirate. So we're doing some buffs to Pirate. Pirate's been underperforming. When she released,
oh my gosh,
she was a bit strong, a little bit strong, right? And so we acted very quickly, and we kind of over nerfed the hero to really help the feeling of this feels really bad fighting against her, right?
Yeah.
But as we've done that, we've realized more and more and more that her power level is way too low. Like I've been seeing a lot of
Grand Cavalier one
in a remove tier list, right? For duels especially,
Aww.
which is kind of sad. But I mean, I get it, right? If the hero is not effective and if everything's reactable and you can't really do anything, like when you're playing as Pirate in specific game modes, then it's
he's faster now
here,
and safer.
Pirate specifically is if we're keeping an eye on the situation. If this is not enough, we will keep doing more changes to the hero to bring them.
This is it.
Where they need to go. So first up, heavy finishers. They now deal 24 damage.
Move the plank.
So again, like
the other one, the full heavy thing,
line a little bit higher, so you're more encouraged to do them and get into the move there. The guaranteed pistol blast and the non-guaranteed pistol blast now recover at different timings here. The gist of it is that whenever you perform them, if you don't chain afterwards, you become frame neutral with your opponent instead of being frame disadvantaged. So it lets you not necessarily keep the pressure going, but at least you're not disadvantaged.
It's good for foes
if you don't choose to continue them because you're out
I don't know how I'm good,
or you don't want to do it for whatever reason. So that's kind of like the idea here. Cavalier Dance, which is her front dodge heavy. Right now, it's according to a lot of players, it's fully reactable. Right, they're able to react to the fact that you're fainting in or not. So we sped it up to 700 ms. It used to be 8. It's now 700. And the uninterruptible stance starts at 433.
Cavalier is full dodge.
Here we're hoping that by speeding it up, it'll make it a little bit less reactable. Animations kind of follow there, so hopefully they're going to be less readable, a little bit less readable in the fact of did Pirate faint or not. So we're gonna see where that lands, and like hopefully it'll be like in a good spot where you can actually use it as an opener.
Damn, heavy finish is 24. It's that's kind of sucky, bro.
Heroes. And then finally, Grand Cavalier, which is her side dodge heavies. We had put them at 600 ms. They're pretty good. They have really big trajectories. They hit a lot of stuff. But at 600,
it's quicker.
Especially with the dodge changes, it felt bad, right? They were getting parried all the time. Making them at 533, again, we're putting them back down to the value they were when they released. Should help them be a little bit faster, a little bit less reactable, and have them be actually just better in general.
Yeah. Okay.
That's it for Pirate. Next up, we have Medjay.
Medjay?
There we go. So for Medjay, the hero's actually been overperforming. If you look at a lot of tier lists, especially Dominion, way high up, and is the source of...
Is there a reason for that?
Yeah, right. So there's a good reason for that, right? And the problem is that like staff mode is very, very, very strong, and also has was kind of played with some bugs with the trajectories, dealt a lot of damage, like a massive amount of damage, and like because the weapon trajectory didn't really line up with the actual weapon visuals, it made it feel kind of bad.
That's what made him good.
Why am I getting hit when a weapon?
What the hell?
Right. Yeah. So we're trying to address all of these issues at once here for Medjay. So first is all staff mode chain heavy attacks on deal 28 instead of 30 on sides and 32 on top. Already that's like that's a 2 damage nerf or 4 damage nerf for top. So like again, this dealt a ton of damage against external opponents that couldn't really do anything. They're fully.
I like dealing a lot of damage. I don't like this.
That's one thing there.
I like slumping people.
Also now deal 30 instead of 32 on sides and 34 on top. Again, same logic, right? Damage curve was going a bit too high. Tagging people with 32 damage heavies when they can't really do anything and they don't really see them, that doesn't really work well. And we've also adjusted the attack trajectories to better match weapon visuals. Sorry, for the following attacks. So all staff mode lights and heavy attacks and staff mode zone attacks. So now you should find that
Thing is, I like seeing 30 on the bottom left of my screen.
When the weapon hits you externally,
it makes you feel good.
Way better with the actual.
Now I'm gonna see 28.
And we've also adjusted them. So like in some cases, there's a little.
34 and 32 was nice.
More depending, like in front, we had to like increase it. Yeah. On the sides, lower it a little bit. So they're still good. You still have a large reach. You still have all that sort of stuff. But at least now, if the weapon hits you, that's when you're gonna take damage.
Oh snap! Wait.
Well, the weapen's coming at me, so I can dodge out of the way
or
deal with it in a better way
just
than
stuff.
just hitting you out of the blue.
I was going to say, Bash could be really good if the trajectory was better.
Okay. Yeah. So that's for Magi. Next up, we have Orochi. So Orochi's centered about around the
Storm Rush. You can't infinite anymore.
Yeah, Storm Rush is not that good.
It's not that good.
However, if you look at a lot of I've seen a lot of ganking.
No, change guaranteed double top and sidelights.
Problematic because it ignored a lot of the rules that we have.
Now there's 20,
and so that's really complicated. But basically, you could pin opponents that could not.
That's really good. But the infinite is gone.
Back to back. So that created a lot of issues, and a lot of the 100 ganks with a lot of heroes in the cast were just, Orochi's there, so you can get them going, right?
Gotcha.
So this really needed to be addressed, so that the
no more infinite, but I think this is good.
Everybody else in the cast, where they
I think this is good.
Fully ignore those spinning rules. So the change that we've done was Storm Rush no longer pins opponents that are in states where they can't normally be pinned. So, for example, those are generally, if an opponent is currently being pinned, Storm Rush could repin them. Right now, that can't happen. The hit reactions also no longer allow the opponents to be pinned from other players.
That'll be nice.
Another part of this was if you pin somebody with Storm Rush.
Thing is, dog, that's reactable. You can distinguish between the kick and Storm Rush when focused for good players. I haven't really tried it, so I don't know.
And you can no longer chain to the guaranteed double top and side lights after a Storm Rush.
And you got less damage from the thing too.
Because even if you remove the other two things, right, the pinning rules are okay. If you do Storm Rush into a light, the reaction, the hit reaction that came from that light is in a state that is pinnable. And so because of this, even if we fix the other two, you can still repin from the reaction.
Good thing is you're going to be saving more stam when you're playing as Orochi, so you can chain for longer. I don't know how much
we've also increased
the light guaranteed light took, but yeah, you're going to have more stam now.
Basically, it's that 4 damage that those little combo lights you can do. So you're still going to deal the same damage with Storm Rush. It's just that you can't have that kind of repin.
I like that, I like that for Orochi. You're more smooth.
Seems fair. Yeah, it seems really fair.
Peacekeeper.
And then finally, Hitokiri, one line, but significant line. When we did change to Hitokiri last time, the hero, we kind of skipped over the zone attack stamina cost. So we're putting that back in line. So instead of costing
very minor changes, 20, you have more. It's going to cost less stam if you want for the damage.
And
a very raspy voice,
right? So all that stuff. So at least now you can throw zone attacks and not lose half of your stamina, which is
always a plus.
Pretty good, right? It's always a plus.
All right.
So that's pretty much it for balancing and patch notes for this.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of stuff.
That's quite a hefty thing, and all that again accompanying the reflex guard removal. Yeah. Like it's great to see the walker coming back into after like all the which, by the way, again. Thank you all for that feedback. Legitimately, I mean, as JC said, we ran too, but we really do value the feedback you give us on that stuff. It helps to really see what's working with the community.
I think Paris is going to be good for 4s, but like in 1s, you're still screwed, bro. Like I'm saying, honestly, your thing's messed up, bro. One of your unblockables is unusable. If you're mega focused at the game, you're screwed.
Better, whatever.
That sucks.
We're always looking at everything, and it's great. I'm always happy to see people commenting. It means people are engaged. It means people love the game, and they want good things to come out of it. So that's always good. So that's always amazing for me. So that's great.
Only duels though.
Well, and
only duels related.
Another excellent point of engagement coming up after this segment. So stick around, everybody here, because JC's not going anywhere. He's here all day.
It's my show today.
He's fine in 4s. I want to say she's okay in 4s now.
Testing grounds.
Probably mid now.
Next with somebody I think you're all going to be pretty excited to hear about. So stick around. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Okay. Okay, no Peacekeeper. Alright, tell me testing grounds. I want to see new shit done. I saw someone else. Who was it? Highlander. I'm excited for Highlander. Oh, I'm actually really excited for Highlander, bro. If they give us something beautiful, bro. If they give us a legendary time. Testing grounds. There's a female Highlander. Say what? Nah, unlikely. Unlikely. Well, hey, I would like to get choked by them thighs. What? Let's go. Yeah, Highland is going to be complex, I think. But it's probably going to take... it's probably going to be the same time as Lucia. Let's see. I want to see Lucia stuff as well. Because how did they need Orochi? Loki had no idea what he was thinking about on Ramadi there. I'll expect Pab knows all the things. MS timings and all that. Pab knows more. I'm more of an experienced type person. How did they know? Pab's probably writing a paragraph already. Just wait, little bees. Basically beams, right? I don't know if you've ever got infinite, but think of it like this. Let's say I'm playing Medjay and Pab's Orochi, right? If Pab Orochi landed a Storm Rush on you, I would be able to guarantee his next Storm Rush if I was to heavy you, if I was to grab you in Staff mode, guaranteed. In essence, what that means is, as soon as a Storm Rush happens, you're dead. You're not gonna recover. You're screwed. That combos with Medjay, Peacekeeper. Who else does a nice one? Ocelotu, loads. You can't do that anymore. So you can't do that anymore. And it's a little bit of a buff 2 in 1.
Back to talk about the testing ground.
Just stam is usage is gone less a little, so you have more stam.
For the first time on the Warriors Den, William the Conqueror.
William. Tell me something, William.
Oh, sorry. Oh, thank you.
I did not enunciate. The Idaho came out, and it was just like, oh,
come on, William.
Yeah. Thank you to having me.
Everyone in Idaho sounds like Boomhauer.
Come on, William.
That's how it works. That's good.
Yeah. So, yeah, we're talking about testing grounds, and let's just kick it off, JC.
Yeah, well, first, I want to welcome William to the Den. First time we see him around. Joined the team not that long ago, like 3 months ago.
Yeah, like 3 months ago.
But you've been playing
yeah,
forever, right? Since you've been playing For Honor since the beginning.
Yeah, pretty much since the launch, and now being on the other part of the screen as a dev, that's a pretty good feeling, you know.
Fresh out of school.
Yeah, the note on our cheat sheet says
apparently he plays the game.
School, but I wasn't sure.
Would he get smoked by me?
School or after finishing?
Just saying.
I don't think he went to finish.
Never.
No, but let's get into testing grounds details. So what can players expect from the TG? Because we've got the man who never skips leg day, right?
Mr. Thighs.
Yeah.
Highlander, right? So I'm super happy. We've been wanting to do Highlander.
I'll be sure to get content for that.
He's been wanting to, like, for us to have Highlander and the testing grounds and as a rework. So we've taken an approach here with Highlander, which is
no stream on next Thursday then.
The hero better in general. It's a really difficult to play hero. He's like kind of tricky. There's a lot of like weird things that can happen. So we focused on not really removing much. Actually, I think there's one thing that's been removed. Everything else is if you played Highlander before, you can play Highlander now, except you have better tools. So that's great.
Nice.
That's what I like to see in a rework as well.
Yeah, and I think that's what players said when discussing Highlander as a potential. They're just like, I hope they don't change him too much.
Yeah, right. So he hasn't changed too much. Actually, he changed for the better, so that's great.
Some TLC.
Yeah, a lot of TLC. Yeah. All right, so let's get started. Okay, so first up, the very, very biggest change we've done, and I think people should be psyched about this, is that whenever you feint an attack now, every single time you feint an attack, if you hold the heavy button, you will fast flow into offensive stance. Right?
Ooh,
how does this work?
I'm more smooth.
I throw a heavy, feint, hold heavy, straight into offensive stance.
It's nice.
So this is great because normally the only way you could really on live right now, like go into offensive stance, realistically, is either like you got lucky or whatever, or you backstep light into offensive stance. Those are the two ways that kind of made it safe.
Does that work for unblockables too?
Now with this, you're showing an indicator. So because you're showing an indicator, your opponent doesn't really.
Offensive stance unblockables.
It makes it a lot easier to go into offensive stance. So that's a really, really, really big change here. It works off of every single feint that you can perform with
every feint.
Every single feint.
Oh my gosh! Tell me, please, I can get heavy from GB, please. Please. That's what I ask. Please.
The next thing I want to talk about quickly, which is a problem with the hero right now, is backstep lights. Right now, on live, if you do this, you backstep quite a bit. You can kind of option select a lot of attacks. We don't like that. It's not a good thing. So what we've done is that the version, like when you backstep a little bit less. So it kind of removes that option. Like, right,
if you'll get parried. Okay.
I still hit my opponent.
You'll get parried.
You
okay.
Just go and try to option select stuff out of it. And just smash out of it and get out of range and stuff. And so
it's like one of the few OSs to survive the purge.
So that's a problem with like whenever we have like.
I think you have to be really close to your opponent though. It seems like.
It kind of creates problems there. The other thing we've done is a crushing counter version. So if you want to throw me a top heavy. It now deals 18 damage instead of 20. So again, we've lowered the damage a little bit here.
18?
Again, that was a bit
raw stamina. What was that before? Same?
The other thing we've done in defensive stance is, in defensive form rather, is the chain
heavies better be
no
nice.
longer have uninterruptible stance. This is a health issue, right? Players could just smash this, have armor quite often.
Like that, man. How's Big Boy not having hyper armor, man?
Removing it there makes a lot of sense. You still have it off of your heavy openers, right?
No, I don't like that.
Off of your heavy openers. So you can still trade and do stuff with Highlander. It's just not off of the flight.
There's still a lot of flashing.
Yeah. There's still a lot of flash.
Yeah.
Right?
Flashes.
The other thing that we've done that's kind of cool is we've also adjusted the speed of Highlander's heavy openers. So top heavy opener right now. See, so if you're on live right
Say
now,
700.
and you land a guard break, realistically, all you can do is zone attack to hit.
Give me the good news. Give me the good news. Give me the good news. Give me the good news.
My friend, you can do a top heavy, and it lands because it's now 800 MS, right? If I do like a side, for example, it's blockable because they're now 9. But what happens when they're 9 is Will can do a dodge attack here, and I get a free heavy off of a side heavy now that are 900. Beforehand, all you could do after a light parry is hold heavy, release it. Timing was rough. Like the input comfort was not super there. You can still do it if you want, but we really wanted to give the hero like a much better way of getting into those parry punishes and not be super penalized about all of these things. That works really well.
The flow is good.
We've also adjusted damage. I like the damage. So top is 24, side is 27, like expected for those speeds. So that works out really, really well. Next, we have zone attack from offensive form. So first up, first hit is feintable. You couldn't feint it before, now you can.
Oh, dip.
It's great, right?
That's huge.
Because now you can also, you want to know what I'm talking about? Feinting, feint into offensive.
Oh,
ooh.
I see what you did.
Okay. This guy's smooth. Helen is smooth now.
Uninterruptible stance at 500 MS. So that's great. So you get and then the second and third hit also gain uninterruptible stance at 100 MS. So you get armor here, armor here, armor here.
It's not fast,
minions,
but
when a bunch of people are around you, go ahead. You're not gonna get peeled. So that's great. But we're like, yeah, this is pretty cool, you know. But how can we make this even?
There's more.
What do you think we could do?
I mean, was it faster?
It's not necessarily faster, but you can now chain to heavy finishes.
Oh, dip.
That also
I was way off.
Right?
I was,
I
was distracted by
wait.
Now the other cool thing is that the heavy finishers also chain into zone attack. So if you want to be
one question.
You can now go.
One question. Can I do that in chain, or does it have to finish? Does the zone have to finish?
All right, so the age of man is over. The age of the thigh copter is here.
Oh my god!
But
12 stem!
We really want to have Highlander in
You're a good hero now!
Really defensive, but be able to defend himself in group fights. Be amazing in the minion lane, because you can just spin through the...
Yeah. No, Scotsman goes...
Yo!
Exactly. So that's really, really good there. And the last change that we're adding is the top, like the front dodge heavy. The top version.
Can you do that in chain? If you can do that in chain, that's sick.
So now you can top heavy feint, hold heavy, straight into offensive stance as well, which is really, really good there.
It is funky, bro. I don't like that animation. I hope they change it before it comes in. It looks weird, ugly.
Highlander in those cases. Now we have offensive form, right? So the main issue with offensive form is kick, because kick right now is
That was quicker.
not necessarily.
I feel like that was quicker.
Fast.
That feels quicker.
But it kind of works. The problem is that it's reactable, and then if I'm playing against, say, a Highlander here, right?
You can.
And I'm gonna do kick into keeper toss. It kind of works. The idea is that the way that mix-up was intended was I'm gonna do kick into keeper toss and catch dodge attacks.
What the hell?
Or catch people dodging actually. But because everybody has dodge attacks right now, like if you can try to dodge attack it when I do it,
See?
Yeah, you just
clearly it's not gonna work. Right? So how do
Is
we
there any
fix
for an
this?
update? Next week,
Well,
kicks. Next week.
kick
This is
is
these.
now-
Well, everything that's here is next week.
Sorry. Kick is now feintable. Uh-oh. Not only is it feintable, but if you're because you're currently holding heavy, right? So holding heavy, you stay in offensive stance, which is great because I can also throw my offensive heavies, feint them, stay in offensive stance.
I cannot wait to go back and read chat.
This is like amazing there. The other thing that we've also done is all of his side dodge, all of his dodge attacks actually in offensive stance are now keeper toss, which is also a little bit faster. If you play with
throw
Highlander
it to the
before,
ground.
you grab them. Usually, it used to take a bit more time. You grab them, throw them. It will take a bit longer. You still get your unblockable heavy off of it, like usual. But you have it off of this, right? So now it's crazy because when you're in offensive stance, you get even more.
You're so quick now. I love that.
Potential damage with a lot of your allies by throwing somebody to the floor. So that's good. The other thing
He's
that's
actually
interesting
really.
here is that.
Oh, this
Will
is
kind of
good.
rolls away
How much revenge
from
does that
my
do?
feintable kick. Do it, and then kick, and you just roll away from it. I can dodge and grab it. Right? So there is now no escaping the kick. Which is
this is good. Your Highlander's gonna be smooth, bro.
It's amazing.
And this is just Highlander,
But
bro.
At the same time, if you want, like I said before, right? You want to soft feint into keeper toss? You can. We didn't remove it. You want to go straight to keeper toss from neutral? You can. We didn't remove it, right? So all of these things are still in. They're not necessarily the most optimal.
There's
things,
more,
but
I can
we
tell.
want to make sure that if you played Highlander before, you can still play Highlander. You just have new things that work better.
Okay, so you don't have to like,
What
get
did he
a
do?
500-pound brain and relearn the character.
Exactly, right? That's great.
Yeah.
Also, like for the heavies in offensive stance, we've lowered.
Did he just soft feint? No. No way he soft feinted, right?
So now they deal 26, used to deal 30. 30 off a dodge
stamina?
attack was always a bit crazy, but yeah, 12 stamina instead of 24. So you can actually now stay in offensive stance.
Yeah, I like. You know, I said damage numbers are bad,
50% off.
but the amount of stamina you're using.
Oh, that's more, right?
Yeah, I like it. That's a good trade.
We have a blog post that kind of details all of those things. Essentially, like you can flow back into the offensive stance a little bit quicker from when you're doing, and you also move a little bit further out when you're dodging from when you're on live. So that's good.
He overall just looks a lot more fluid.
They didn't say anything about the tech.
with these little tweaks.
Yeah, it feels really, really good. And then just the last thing that I want to go into. So we've removed every single instance of stamina damage and stamina pause, like we've done with stuff. Again, like it doesn't really fit anything here. Like I said before, when we have Lawbringer, it's the same kind of logic there. You can also no longer. So right now, if you're on live, right, if you're in offensive form and you hold guard break, you can just do kick.
Oh right, it'll just chain,
right?
chain.
So now we've kind of fixed this, so you have to tap it, and then if you're just holding it, it's not just gonna happen infinitely, right?
Nice, so you're not gonna
Is
get
that yeah? and-
caught on the startup of the next one.
Exactly, and so this might look a bit weird, like why did we remove this? It's just because this it can create like bad inputs.
That's funny.
So there's no point in
Animation
having
is
bad
funny.
input. So if we can clean them up, that's great. It works really well there. Also, the other thing is that like exiting offensive stance used to cost 12 stamina. Now it costs 6. So again, better stamina management for Highlander. Great overall.
6 is little,
And then,
but
the final piece.
I wish it
of
didn't
this
cost any.
Puzzle is Highlander had the worst walking and running speed in the
Yes.
entire game. Even though he was like a big beefy guy with like big thighs. So right now we've actually sped it up to be equal to the second slowest thing, which I think is Kensei. So he runs at about the same speed.
that's like
as
double the
Kensei.
speed he used to have.
With this, you can actually rotate to your rotation a lot better.
Yo, this guy's gonna be so good in.
Yeah,
Yo.
was not great for rotation.
Right. And you had to.
I don't know his
correct
feats.
every single time.
Yo, but Highland's gonna be good in fours now.
So we really like sped that up. Make sure that at least like that's a bit more.
I don't know how much revenge the kicking stuff is gonna feed. I don't know if they changed that,
His
but
dedication to leg day
Yo.
finally paid off.
Exactly right. So that's great. So that's it for Highlander. Like
that's really bro. That's dumb. That's a dub. That's a dub, bro. I'm gonna feel like Orochi while playing Highlander. This is gonna be sick. 26 damage for 12. Big man. You're gonna get flawless. I'm gonna have half my stamina. You're getting flawless. It's not over. I get light parry. Guess what? More stam. Flawless. I'm looking for that stam. Oh, sick. Bro. I don't know. I think stam's gonna be an issue, bro.
We want some tweaks, but we don't want to. We don't want to change the identity of the hero or like the feel.
Yeah.
Oh.
So. Yeah, I'm,
okay.
I'm excited
Anyone
to
else?
get hands
Anyone
on
else?
Highlander because
or was it just Highlander?
He always felt like chunky.
Yeah.
Like swapping out cardboard cutouts.
Constantly.
You know.
So with this, it's a lot more fluid.
Yeah. Now it's just, and those are kind of more the heroes that.
Yeah, that's really good. That's really good.
It's just like let me get in there and flow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. Well, I think that's it for the testing grounds.
Thanks,
William, for being
a punching bag.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Punching bag on the stream. No, just
no new show news.
Not off.
Please.
Damn, bro. For Highlander,
thank
damn,
you
bro.
both so much for joining me on the stream. And for those of you home, we'll be right back with Nolan to recap everything, and we've got some community corner videos.
Finally getting rid of me.
Yeah. You can go like bask in the glory of chat's adoration.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
I love that.
But stick around. We'll be right back after this transition.
Baby oil. Alright. Not again.